Hello guys, and we're here today with a deck that I found to be very interesting and actually surprisingly playable, and this is Qliphort. This is the traditional build. There are two builds out here. This I call this the Sun build. There's also the control build. The control build uses the new Monarch stuff. And I was an idiot because at first when I started playing this deck, I just ran it as a draw engine using Hand Deity, Tenacity, and where is the other one? And this guy. And if I sound awful, it's because I am awful. But I was an idiot because I should have been playing this card. But I was too hyped up about being able to make Infinity in this deck, so I didn't even think about putting this card in. But control no extra deck, which Qliphorts don't need. You control a tribute to a monster, your opponent does not. Your opponent cannot special monsters from the extra deck. This would have been pretty good against a lot of matchups. Of course, it would have been dead against Monarchs, so it would have been an instant side out. But and so that may have made me want to play the Sun build more. But if you want to play the control build, you can play the. And you don't even need to run Monarchs, it just has to be a tribute to monster. And all these guys have 2800 or 2400 attacks, so you can get off Tenacity. They're all really good, it works really well. It's just that sometimes that draw engine will flaw. Because you have Hand Deity or you have Tenacity, but you don't have anything else. You don't have your Hand Deity, you don't have anything to use it off of. But this deck can also clog, all decks can clog. But anyways, I'll go in. Qliphorts, the way Qliphorts work is that all of these monsters can be normal summons without tribute. And their level becomes 4 and their attack becomes 800, which is very nice. It allows us to use this card on them. Or you could, or if you pendulum summon them, their level becomes 4. Or you could just tribute summon them and they keep their attack and defense. These 4 right here gets effect if they are tribute summoned. He can attack twice, being a 28 meter that hits piercing, so that's pretty decent. This guy can bounce a card and the opponent cannot activate this card to affect and respawn. And these 2, or 6 cards, get effects when tributed, when used for a tribute summon. So these are the ones you want to pendulum summon. He will bounce a monster and he will destroy a monster. So it is possible to bounce one card on the field, bounce another monster, and destroy a back row or a pendulum, so you can really hurt your opponent, get rid of 3 cards and they cannot respond. Or you could go for weak powers. God, I just cannot speak today. Probably because I sound awful. He does still require 3, but he isn't as good as towers, because he is affected by level 9 monster effects, while towers would not, but in people on running level 9s. He doesn't have the decrease in attack like towers did, which is unfortunately a little bit sad, and made towers a little bit more playable. But he has a decent effect. If you're going second, you get him off, or you get him off late game, this guy's effect can be just destruction on your opponent. Target one monster your opponent controls, take control of that monster until you can face use it, change of heart, which is pretty decent. There's a 29 beater. If you don't want to run him, I would recommend running Wicked Avatar, because you want to run a 3 tribute monster because of this card, Monolith. Monolith's pendulum effect is if you tribute 3 monsters this turn for a tribute summon, draw a card equal to the number of 3 you tributed. So you could either run the one that's searchable, that's a change of card, or one Wicked Avatar, which requires 3, or one of the God cards, which is Obelisk, and be able to draw 3 cards. Wicked Avatar's effect, if you don't know it, prevents your opponent from activating spell or trap cards in the next 2 of their turns until the end of their second turn after that effect resolves. And he has 100 more attacks than the highest monster on the field, which I find pretty decent. But he is unsearchable, this guy is, and just being able to draw 3 cards during your end phase is really good. But it is end phase drawn, so do take that into consideration. If you draw into your traps, you draw into anything you can't use them into your opponent's next turn for those days. But, yep, like we went over, this guy will bounce, you can attack cards, destroy back row, and bounce monsters when defeated. 2 maxes, only 2, because he's in a field, with Monarchs being one of the biggest decks that it really needed BF3. Wageki is just great in this deck because this deck can pump out beat sticks really easily, so sometimes the top decking Wageki can do it. Upstart and then Summoner's Art, so that way you can get out your Scout. It really helps out. This card helps out a lot because the Scout being at 1, it's really annoying. Because if you lose your Scout and you can't get an access to your 9 skills, such as these 4 cards, you're only running 5 9 skills, it can be a little bit of a problem. And if you do not see Scout right away, you will lose. So you want to have this, and then we're also running 3 Raving Knights, which means there's Scout. So you technically have 6 searchers, so total 7 cards, and then this card as well. So you can get to them pretty easily. Most games you should be able to open up with it. And that's where this draw engine, this Monarch draw engine, really came in and helped out a lot because there's just so much drawing. And then of course you got Pot of Riches, just be able to recycle your Scout and then draw 2 cards. And it doesn't really, it's downside where you can only special summon 3 times and summon. It doesn't really affect this deck too much. 2 Duality to help us even more with consistency. I would probably replace this card though down here with Card of Demise. I do not know when we're going to get that card. Let me show you that card. Card of Demise. This card is crazy. Draw and Tilt. If you ever see a card that says Draw and Tilt, read the rest of it. Draw until you have 3 cards in hand, but opponent takes no damage, send your entire hand to the graveyard, and will only have 6 cards. Card of Demise for a turn, and you cannot special summon. So if you cannot special summon, then I would recommend that you do not tribute summon, because I do not know this guy and this guy. Because I'm not sure if you can say, okay, it's my end phase, I'm going to discard my hand, but I don't have any cards in my hand, so I don't get to discard anything. Alright, Monolith attack, draw. Or if you have to draw off the Monolith first and then get rid of the cards you just drew off the Monolith. I do that because it's deck building, but nonetheless I could hit some very good cards such as Pot of Riches. So you have to make that judgment call. With this card, when you do play it, this is a card that you'd want to play in pretty much every deck. But I do not know the ruling with that. But definitely replace this card with that in this deck. That would be amazing. Anyways, 2 Twin Twisters, stack Qliphort, which allows your Qliphort to gain 3 impact, not be destroyed by balancing the 2 tributes for tribute summon. Starlight Road. We're running Starlight Road because Twin Twister and Raven Knight is a really nasty card, especially in this deck that is macro heavy. And while it doesn't seem macro heavy, once you start sighting, it does, and you really don't want to lose your backrow because you kind of play slow, especially when you're trying to get set up and trying to get going. You play very slow. You do not want to lose. You'll lose 1 turn or you'll skill drain to a Twin Twister. But more than likely, if you see this card, your opponent does not have Twin Twister because that's how it always ends up. And every time you do not see this card, your opponent has Twin Twister, so it's just really nice. Soul Turnover. If you control no special monsters, tribute 1 face up level 4 in a normal set. Monster cards you can special summon. This will trigger these deck effects. He will bounce monsters, he will pop back row. You can use this as a compulse or as an NFT that allows you to draw 2 cards. 3 great for Qliphort. And then lose 1 turn and skill drain. This deck benefits from these cards, although these cards will mess with Soul Turnover, specifically skill drain, because, like I said, when all these monsters are summoned, they become level 4 and have 1800 attack unless they were tribute summoned. Well, lose 1 turn will still switch them in defense mode. It will at least give them their attack back, so if they don't get destroyed, they go up to 2400. And skill drain will increase their attack back to 2800 or 2400 respectively. So this can be just a great card to just surprise your opponent. Oh, you're getting attacked into my 18 beater with a 2000. Alright, now he's at 24. And of course, these cards really really annoy your opponent. They can slow down Cosmos, specifically cards that Dark Destroyer, and prevent the destruction from him and the other one that back row and stuff. I cannot remember the name. Flip Rider, that's what I think it is. So you have lose 1 turn and skill drain to help out. And then extra deck, Stardust. If you control this guy, you can. If you control these guys in your Pendulum Zone, you cannot use this to start summon that Stardust. So it's just how it works. But if you were to like chain away the Knights to get rid of your Pendulums, then yes, you would be able to summon out Stardust back. And that's the same with all of these. These guys are on your scales, you cannot special summon anything that is not complete. So if you can get rid of it, then you can make maybe Felgrand if you have 2 level 8s with these guys, and this guy is an 8 as well, I believe. 6, if you have 2 of these guys, you can make Utopia Utopia Beyond. And if you have 2 of these guys out, which isn't that difficult, honestly, you can make a Nova, 2 level 5 machine types, machines, and then make an Infinity. Or if you have just Kingdom Come with a whole bunch of monsters, you can make and they're all level 4, you can just make some force, but you have to have Raving Eyes, you have to be able to get rid of your scales in order to do that. Oftentimes I don't make them. If I'm gonna do it, I'm probably gonna do it to Infinity, and that's probably why I lose some games, because I'm not paying attention to my extra deck, and I just like, oh no, I don't want to get rid of Scout, I can't get rid of my one Scout, I don't have Pot of Riches yet. But nonetheless, getting rid of your Scout is a huge problem, because if you do not have your scale, there's just no one-card scale anymore, and sometimes you just slow down your opponent just get to initiative so quickly. And so that is it for the extra deck. For the main deck for the side deck, we have another Max D, so if we're not facing Monarchs. And then these 5 cards right here are for the Monarch matchup. So we have the Mystical Rift panel that you never see every time they activate Hand Deity, but who knows, maybe you could get it off, they activate Hand Deity, and you're like, alright, I get a draw now, sweet. Or Spell Shedding Arrow to get rid of all those continuous spells and inflict a decent amount of damage to your opponent. And then of course you have, and I would also, against Monarch, side in 1 Gozen and 1 Rivalry, and Souldrain. Yeah, Souldrain definitely for the Eodos and the Idea and the Pan Deity and the original Monarch. But Gozen and Rivalry state that you can only control 1 type and 1 attribute respectively. These are all Earth Machine type monsters, so unless you're planning on using your extra deck, which really doesn't matter, if you have flipped these guys, they're just going to be really annoying on your opponent, and this is where it becomes a huge stun build, because it's just like, oh, you're going to Pendulum Summon, oh, you're going to summon out Idea. Oh. It really stops your opponent. And of course, Swordman's like, no effects in Grave, which is really nice, because it stops a lot of things. Like, this is a great side against Cosmos, which you would also be sighting in Light and Shadow Imprisoning there. And then I'd also cite in another Gozen, 1 Gozen and 1 Rivalry as well. So against the Cosmos, you'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards cited in to be intense. And it's definitely a reason why you want that Starlight Road in the deck. That's a card I do not recommend citing out. Do not cite that card out, because you don't see it a lot, but when you do, it helps. Because it's just great knowing that if they flip out a Bottomless, a Torrential, or they Twin Twister, it's just gonna be stuck, and that your play goes through. And then, yeah, it's pretty stun heavy. This is the stun build. If you wanted to play the control build, we run this guy, the Dominion of the Legendary Monarch. I don't know, because the OCG name is the True Monarch, isn't it? If you want to play that build, that would probably also be very decent for the deck. It has a huge consistency, so you get to see Scout practically every game, and it still has the same amount of power. But it doesn't prevent your opponent from playing, which is why I'm not such a big fan of it. Up to you guys. Tell me guys what you think. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. See you guys later. Bye.